Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our revision phase. That is our last phase of the 2024 academic year. So let's go through the revision phase and see if it is going to benefit everyone. In the revision, I always expect us to be participating. That's what it means when we talk of revision. So revision is testing to see if you guys understand the principles and the concept. So I would encourage everyone to participate in how we get some of the answers from the scenario, so that we can see where we are, where we need to polish up. Right, so let's start with our class and see where we go. Right, so let's start with, we're going to focus on costing today. So let's start on this question. I think I sent this question, everyone got the question on time to go through it. Right, so let's look at the company information. They say Pinatech, based in Isando, Gauteng, is a male-dominated executive team and manufacture two types of premium laptop models. There is a 14-inch deluxe and 16-inch Elite laptop. Okay, let me just check these other guys. So they say their products are known for superior performance and quality. Hence, their laptops carry an above industry 4-year warranty. The company has a strong brand reputation and a loyal customer base. The company has a December financial year end, uses an absorption costing system, and values all its inventories using the first in, first out method. So absorption costing system, we should take that into account, and the first in, first out inventory valuation. Right, so they go in and say, PINA operates operations occur in two production stages. Firstly, the enclosure stage, and then the assembly stage. So in the enclosure stage, they're using advanced machinery and same-skilled labor. This stage combines aluminum and magnesium alloys to mold and produce high-end durable laptop castings.
Okay. How did you write?
Okay, can you please mute yourself? As soon as you get into the class, please mute yourself. Right, then there is the assembly stage. During this stage, highly skilled technical laborers carefully install the main circuit board and an advanced component sets into the enclosure. Both production stages are complex and time-consuming and are managed by only one factory supervisor who monitor both operations and reports back to the production head. The company operates at only 75% of production capacity and has opportunities to sell laptop casting as an additional product line. The company has been facing challenges from intense competition in a saturated market. Additionally, PINA relies on a global supply chain to source its critical raw materials, aluminum and magnesium. Recent geopolitical tensions and trade restrictions have led to delays and increased costs for this critical raw material. You can see here, if the question wants you to do the business risk, already you have your answer. This is where you extract the business risk, the possible business risk, right? Then they say the company was recently awarded a seat of equivalent tender to supply the various departments with laptops. PINA received this tender after sponsoring a charity event hosted by an influential seat government official. Then let's look at part A. During the 2023 financial year, a standard costing system was in place, and the following information was extracted from PINA's actual and budgeted information for the financial year ending 31 December 2023. So this is some of the information. We have budgeted selling price, budgeted contribution per unit, actual contribution, budgeted gross profit. So they go on and say there was no budgeted opening and closing inventory of any type. Then let's look at the sales demand. Let's look at the sales demand. PINA budgeted to sell 5,200 units and 2,800 units of deluxe and elite laptops, respectively. Production delays occurred due to a global shortage of aluminum and magnesium during the 2023 financial year. PINA only managed to achieve 75% of the budgeted deluxe sales. This one we should take note of. These are the sales. They only managed to achieve 75% of the budgeted deluxe sales and total company sales of only 6,500 units. So which means out of these deluxe, they only manage 75% of the sales. So you should take note of that one, especially when you are doing your variance analysis. So they say the actual selling price was equal to the budgeted selling price. So we are not going to have a challenge. The actual selling price was equal to the budgeted selling price, which means we're going to use this budgeted selling price as our actual selling price, right? Production demand, the budgeted production was equal to the sales demand for both products. However, the actual production was 3,850 deluxe and 2,250 elite laptops. So these are the actual production, and the budgeted demand production is still the same. Where is the budgeted production? I think that's the one here, right? Then let's look now at aluminum and magnesium raw materials. The following information was noted for raw material used in the enclosure stage. There is aluminum were provided with the standard cost card, and purchase and issue production were provided with the figures. Then human resources information. Due to production delays, technical staff had to work overtime to meet the production budget. the budgeted and actual clock hours required to produce one deluxe and Elite laptop were, so these are the budgeted clock hours, 1.25 for a deluxe and 1.75 for an Elite. And the allowed idle time was 88%. The standard clock hour rate per hour was 350 per clock hour. The wage records for December 2023 indicate that an actual work hour rate of 364.58 per work hour, and the actual idle time for December 2023 was 6%. So here you expect a variance for idle time variance here on this one. You're going to expect idle time variance if it is asked in the question. This is where you get your information, right? So let's go to the answering of the question. A says calculate the sales volume variance per product type, sales volume variance per product type, and in total for December 2023. So we want to calculate, A requires us to calculate the sales volume, what is it? The sales volume variance per product type. So that is our A. So it's going to be the sales volume, the sales volume variance per product type. So what do we do in the first thing? We want to calculate the sales volume variance per product type. What is our first step here? The sales volume variance.
Determine the sales mix.
Sales mix. Do we need the sales mix here? The first thing is your formula. What is the formula for sales volume variance? Anyone who has the formula for sales volume variance? Hey, you guys, you don't tell me that you don't know this thing. This is a basic. We haven't started with Mac yet. We're just warming up with this paper.
Is it AQ minus SQ multiplied by standard contributions?
Yes. What do you look at here is here.
Actual sales, yeah, actual selling price.
Yeah.
Minus standard.
What you look at here is, let me just show you something about this. These variants are the same from, even if they ask you 20 variants, those are free marks in the exam. The only difference between the variants is we have a quantity variance and a price variance. So when you are answering your question, you should look at those keywords. Am I dealing with a quantity variance or a price variance? In our case, we are dealing with a quantity variance because they are talking of volume, which means we are dealing with a quantity variance. So in that case, it means you need to see the difference in the budgeted quantity and the actual quantity. So it's going to be your standard quantity minus actual quantity times standard standard profit. When you are doing sales volume variance at third level, if you are provided with gross profit, you use the gross profit. You're not going to use the price, you use the gross profit. So here we're going to use the standard gross profit. So when you are like this, when you know this, then you are done. If they ask you about the sales price variance, then it means we are looking at the price here, the change in price, the difference in price. That is, if it is a sales price variance, then you just look at this, the difference in the sales price in that case. So this is only one thing, two things, let me put it that way. You are dealing a quantity variance and a price variance throughout. That's what you will be dealing with, quantity variance and price variance, right? So what we now need to do is to look at the quantity. What are the standard quantity and what are the actual quantity? That's what we now need to look from our question. So which means we're going to look at, these are the standard quantity for Dulux. Let's start with Dulux, because remember the question say for each product and in total. So let's start with Dulux. The standard quantity is 5,200 and the actual is 75% of 5,200. And if the question says you are going to use absorption costing, it means you use budgeted gross profit. If the question is saying we use absorption costing, like in our case, we're using absorption costing. If the question says you are using direct costing, then it means you are going to use the budgeted contribution per unit. So that's another key area which you should look at when you are answering questions on standard costing. Once the question talk of absorption costing, then it means we are going to use the budgeted gross profit per unit, right? So let's look at the quantities that we are having. We say we start with Dulux.
Lovemo,
Yeah.
can you please repeat? Can you please repeat that?
Which one?
The one that you were saying absorption costing and you must use the budget. What? If you can just repeat it again.
Okay, that's very important. We should, and here we are trying to understand. We don't mind about how much we have completed, but what is important is for you guys to understand. Right? Do you see there? They say the company is December financial year end and uses an absorption costing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If they are using the absorption costing, if you can go back to direct. Remember, I always say direct and absorption costing. Those are the basic management accounting. If you check whatever we'll be doing, we're always coming back to absorption and direct costing, right? So if we are using absorption costing, remember in our structure for absorption costing, we are going to have gross profit. We will have a gross profit. And when we are using the direct costing, we are going to have contribution. So which means if in the scenario they say we are using absorption costing in your variance analysis here, it means you are now going to use the gross profit, because that's how we arrive using the absorption costing. We had to arrive at gross profit. But if we are using the direct costing, then it means we arrive there at contribution. So that's the key areas that you should look at. I don't know if it is clear. It is clear. I think we'll do a question. We'll do a question with direct and absorption costing. Those are the basic principles that we should all understand very well for us to master most of the principles in management accounting, right? So if we have standard quantity, we say it's 5,200 minus the actual. The actual, they say, is going to be 75%. Am I right? Are we together? Times the standard profit. The standard profit is how much here? It's for deluxe it's 6,810. 6,810. 6,000. Right. This is how it should look like. Then it's going to be 5,200 minus who there. Let us help each other to calculate so that we can be a bit fast. This minus 3,900. Am I right? Times
Yes.
6,810. Right? By the look of this, one more thing here when we are here. This is a sales variance. So if what we had budgeted is less than the actual, automatically it means we have a what there? We were expecting more, but we get less, which means we're going to have a what variance here? Is it adverse or a favorable variance?
Adverse.
Yes, it's going to be an adverse.
Will be adverse.
Yeah, we were expecting more and we now sell 3,900. So it's a disadvantage to the company. So it's going to be how many? 1,300 times 6,810, which is going to be
It's 8,853,000.
8,853,000. Right. It's going to be an adverse. You should always take note of this adverse and favorable. If it is a cost variance, remember there's a difference between sales variance and cost variance. If you were budgeting, let's say this one was a cost variance and you were expecting to use this much and you end up using this much, it means you use less cost than what you were expecting. Then it becomes favorable. So cost variance and sales variance, they are opposite when it comes to favorable and adverse. That's another key area that we should look at when we are answering our questions on variance. Right? Unless if there's anyone with a question there, let's do the elite. The same thing, standard quantity minus actual times standard profit. So which means we go to our question and look for the standard quantity for elite. What are the standard quantity for elite? It's 2,800 units. And what are the actual? They say Pina only managed to achieve 75% of the budgeted deluxe sales and total company sales of only 6,500. So we should get our actual sales for elite from here. Remember, we've already calculated the one for deluxe here. So which means the difference should give us the one for elite, for the actual. Then times the budgeted gross profit, which is 7,050. So that's how we, so which means it's going to be our standard quantity for Elite is 2,800 minus the actual quantity. They say 6,500 minus the one that we gave to Dulux, which is 3,900 times the standard gross profit, 7,050. Then we need this one first. Minus 3,900. So it's going to be 2,800 minus 2,600 times 7,050. So it's going to be how much? Yes, 200. Yeah, times 7,050. Right. So the other thing that are we having an adverse or a favorable?
Adverse.
Is it an adverse? Yes, it's an adverse because this is
Yes, it's an
more.
adverse.
Yeah, this is more than this. It's an adverse again. So how much is the adverse?
Love more. Is it wrong when I said 65 times the 75%?
Here, it's still fine. As long as you get the you show it. You mean here to get this 3,900?
Yeah. No, I mean the 6.5 instead of 6.5 minus 3,900. If I say the 6.5 times 75%, is it correct?
Yeah, it's still correct. Because you see, if you say 6.5 times 75, you are still going to get 3.9. So which means yeah, you will be correct.
No, I don't think you get the same answer.
Where are you?
Okay, same thing.
If you multiply it by 75%, you get 4,875.
Oh,
Yes.
no, you will be wrong. Sorry. You see, now I'm just giving you the wrong. I did it when I was trying to do the calculation. I remember what I made at that era when I was doing the calculation. Do you see what happens here?
Yes.
They say Pina only managed to achieve 75% of the budgeted 2 lakhs, which means our 75% will be here of this 5,200, not 6,500. Do you get it?
Yes, I get it for the deluxe, ne? But when it comes to elite, and then why can't we use the 6.5?
And how are you gonna use the 6.5? Because here the 75% is only for the deluxe.
Love more, they saying the actual selling price is equals to the budgeted selling price.
Yeah, but here we are doing the quantity. We're not dealing with the selling price.
Yeah. Can you explain why are we using 3,900? Maybe if you can explain that, we will be able to understand.
Okay, let me read it from the sales demand. They say Peter budgeted to sell 5,200 units. This is their budget. 2,800 units of Dulux and Elite, which means we have 5,200 for Dulux and 2,800 for Elite. This is their budget. Then production delays occurred due to a global shortage of aluminum and magnesium during the 2023 financial year. PINA only managed to achieve 75% of the budgeted Dulux sales. Are we together until here?
Yes, we are together.
Yes.
And total company sales of only 6,500 units. I think the answer you can now, you guys can now get the answer there. So which means for Elite, that's why this guy even underlined here. Total company sales of only 6,500 units. And your Dulux is going to be 75% of the budget. So once you get the one for Dulux, it means the difference between the Dulux one and this 6,500 is now going to be the Elite. I don't know if
Yes. No, I get it now. Thank you.
you got it. No, if you don't get it, guys, don't say you get something. But what I will emphasize is in exam, whatever, the most important thing is to read and understand these scenarios, because this is where the answers will be. So what is very important when you are reading a question, try to master. But for you to be able to master again, remember the basic principle of that particular topic. You must have it in your head. That one you should carry it wherever you are. Right? So there we agree. So how much are we going to have here? 200 times 7,050 is
1,410,000.
which is equal to 1,410,000. It's adverse again, eh?
Yes.
Right? So they want the total,
Yes.
these guys. So you can now make it a total. So they are all adverse, which means they are all negative. You can just add the two, which is going to be 1,410,000 plus 8,853,000, which is going to give us how much all in total? So it's going to be
10,263,000.
adverse. Ne? Are we together on the adverse? It's adverse. What happens if the other one was positive and the other one was favorable and adverse? You just look at the difference between the two. But what you look at when you have different, let's say the other one was positive and the other one is negative, you look at who is bigger between the positive and the negative. So if the positive is the one which is bigger than the negative, it means your final answer is still going to be positive. If the adverse is the one which is bigger than the favorable, it means your final answer is going to be adverse. But you just subtract the difference between the two so that you become quick in the exam. Right? I don't know if there's anyone with a question on these two variances that we have just did. On this one, the first one, A, any question on this one? So when you are doing variance, understand, I already mentioned, we only have quantity variance and price variance. These are the only variance that we have. It's either material quantity variance, material price variance. So which means if the question requires you to do a price variance, you are looking at the difference in the prices. If the question requires you to do a quantity variance, you are looking at the difference in the quantity. So which means here you just substitute it based on are you dealing with a quantity or a price variance? That's how you build your formula. You don't even need to cram these formulas. What you just need to understand is quantity and price variance. Then in that case, you can build any formula from these two, right? Unless if there's anyone with a question, let's look at the second variance. The second one, they say calculate direct material purchase price variance. Do you see this one? It's direct material purchase price variance for all raw materials in the enclosure stage. So we're going to do a price variance. So this one is now a price variance. So that is going to be our A, B. So it's going to be direct material purchase price variance. The key word here is price, which means you are dealing with material purchase price variance. So let's see how do we do with Dulux. Right, you are dealing with price variance here, price variance. So how do we build our formula? Anyone who has an idea of how do we build our formula there?
It's actual price minus standard price multiplied by actual quantity.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. So which means you're going to have actual, or you can start with standard price minus actual price times actual quantity. You are done with your variance. Then you just go and look at the scenario. What is the actual price for Dulux and what is the standard price for Dulux? Okay, here we're dealing with what? Material purchase price variance for both. So which means we're dealing with aluminum and magnesium. Yeah, so let's look at what is the standard price for aluminum is 45, and what is the actual price for aluminum? How do we derive the actual price for aluminum? From here, it's here. Where do we get the actual price? Where is Smile today? He took a day off today. Or the network is giving problem. Where is the actual price here? Here. Hey, you guys answer. Yes.
Yes. Is it not what you calculated from what you purchased? You actually purchased.
Yeah, you have it here, 100% correct. That's where you get your actual. These are the purchases. The purchase is 21,500 kg for 1,032,000. So this is the actual price, which means we divide to get the actual price there. For aluminium, the same applies for magnesium. So that's how you determine. So in most of your questions, they don't give you the straight figure for actual price. They'll give you quantities and total amount that was paid on those quantities. So you must be able to calculate your actual price there. So which means for aluminium, we're going to say standard price, we say, so which means here we're doing, we're not doing for Dulux, we're doing for all types of material. So This one is going to be aluminium. Let's start with aluminium. So it's going to be standard price, we say it's 45 minus the actual is now going to be 1,032,000 divided by 21,500 times actual quantity, which is 21,500. Then you are done. You just need the price here. Let's get the price there.
Why are we dividing now?
Why are we dividing? Is there anyone who can tell us why are we dividing here? We want to get the price per unit here. Do you get the sense? Yeah, the price per unit. Remember, these are total units, total price. So we want to get the price per unit here. These are the units, and this is the total price. Are we together?
Yes.
So it's going to be 45 minus what? We should get this one.
48.
Minus
48.
48. Yes. Times 21,500. Right? So it's going to be what? This is material price variance. Remember, it's a cost variance. So if it is a cost variance, we expect, do you see the actual price is higher than the standard price? So which means it is going to give us in what here? In adverse, am I right?
Yes.
This is a cost variance. Remember I said there's a difference between sales variance and cost variance. If it is a cost variance and you have budgeted for less than the actual, then it's an adverse. It's just like yourself. You have been writing down your budget for the month. Then when you go to the shop now, prices have changed. So it's a disadvantage. It's an adverse. So the same applies to here. It's going to be an adverse. Because these guys were expecting to pay material for 45. They now end up paying for 48. So it's going to be an adverse. So how much are we going to have all in all? 3 times, which is going to be 64,500. It's adverse. Right. Let's go and do the one from magnesium. The formula is still the same. We're not gonna write it again. Selling price minus is standard price minus actual times actual quantity. So let's check our figures. I think now it's clear now. For magnesium, it's going to be
Standard price is 53.
53, and the actual is going to be here, né? Yeah, so it's 53 standard price, and the actual here, and the actual quantity here again. So we have everything here. So it's going to be 53. That's the standard minus the actual. The actual we're going to say minus 467,500 divided by 8,500 times actual quantity our actual quantity is 8,500 kgs. Right? So we need the price here, the actual price. How much is going to be our actual price?
55.
55, am I correct?
Yes, you are correct.
Times 8,500. So it's going to be adverse again. Am I right? It's an adverse. Are we together here
Yes.
on this adverse?
Everything he wants.
Do we all agree that it's going to be adverse?
Life.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we agree.
Are you guys there? I can't hear. Maybe I. Can
We
you
are
guys
here.
hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we are here.
I think he
Yes,
can't
we
hear.
are here.
I think my sound just. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, Lavina.
Yes, Lama.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I thought maybe I'm alone. The network. Right. So I was saying here we have an adverse. Ne? We agree that there's an adverse. Ne?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
I want you
Yes.
guys to understand these things are not so. It's a matter of understanding how to build this thing. It's not so. It's difficult, but not too difficult. Which is 17,000 adverse. Right? Then when you want to the total, remember the question says in total. So it's going to be total. It's going to be your 64,500 plus your 17,000. They are all adverse. So there's nothing to worry. They are all adverse. You just add them and just remember that they are all adverse. Which is going to be how much there?
81,500.
Which is
81,500.
81,500 adverse. Here, don't forget when you are answering this part that if one is favorable, then it means the other one is negative and the other one is positive. So your answer must be less here. But what you look at is you look at who is positive. Let's say in our case, 64,500 was positive, and this one is adverse. What you just do is you just say 64,500 minus this one. Then you know that your adverse is the bigger one. That your favorable is the bigger one. So which means you are still going to be left with the favorable, right? Unless if there's anyone with a question on there, we can do C. C says calculate for the Dulux product only the direct raw material mix variance per direct material type for the enclosure. So here we want to do a mix variance, which means we are going to combine the two. That's the mix there. We are going to combine the raw materials and find a mix from that combination. So let's see where do we start on this one. This one is our C. So our AC, we want to do the direct raw material mix variance. we're doing the direct direct raw material. Right. When you are dealing with a mixed variance, you are going to look at the standard mix and the actual mix. That's the difference that you are going to look at. You look at the standard mix and the actual mix. So which means you are going to have your standard mix in actual quantity minus your actual mix in actual quantity. Then you'll have your variance. Then you have your standard price. Then you have your mix variance. Right, so this is how you build your formula. Right, I always prefer it in a table when it is this like this, because remember they want us to do for the two, so you should have a table. Right, so what you do is you look for aluminum. Let's start with aluminum. Right, on the aluminum, the standard mix in actual quantity for aluminum and actual mix in actual quantity. So what you go, the mix, remember this is a mix variant, so which means you go there on that table and look at the mix. What is the mix in a product? Because here you are looking at the mix in the product. So if you check, aluminum is 3 kilogram and magnesium is one kilogram. So that's your mix there. That is going to be your mix. So in another way, aluminum is going to have 3/4 as the mix, and magnesium is going to have 1/4 of the actual quantity. That's your mix variant. So which means your actual is going to be here. You add the two, then you give them the mix. Then let's just go there and I think we should have a small calculation for this one. Let's have for aluminum. So the standard mix for aluminum is going to be 3/4 times the actual quantity is 11,850 plus 4,150. So it's going to give you the mix. Then under magnesium, it's going to be, the mix for magnesium is 1/4 times 11,850 plus 4,150. What are the quantities that we are going to have there? What are the quantities for aluminum? 3/4 of this one is going to give us how much?
12,000.
12,000. Then for magnesium, let's check for magnesium. $4,000.
4,000.
Yes. So this is your. So your standard mix in actual quantity is going to be 12,000 here for aluminium, then 4,000 for magnesium, then actual mix in actual quantity. This one is not a problem. You just check as they are because it's actual mix in actual quantity. So which means you just go and check the actuals as they are when you are here. You just check the actual as they are, which means we just go and check aluminium is 11,850. For magnesium is 4,150. So those are the actual. You don't need to calculate the actual because we're talking of actual mix in actual quantity. So which means there you take the actual quantities which are provided, which is going to be 11,850, and here it's 4,150. Then what is going to be the variance here for aluminium? It's going to be is 150. Am I right? Variance in quantity here is going to be
Yes.
150. And also 150 here. Are we together? Are we together?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
So
Yes.
another stage
Yes.
now is to determine whether it's adverse or favorable. We should get it here. These are actual mix in actual quantity, which is 11,850. And these are the standard. So is it adverse or favorable? Anyone with any suggestion? Is it favorable or adverse here? This is your standard. And this is your actual. It's still the same like what we're doing, just that now it's a mix. You were expecting to use 12,000 based on your standard mix, but you end up using 11,850. Is it
It's favorable.
It's favorable.
No, it's adverse.
It's
Yeah, it's
favorable.
favorable.
Yeah, this one is going to be favorable. And then here, you were expecting to use 4,000, and you end up using 4,150. So this one is going to be what?
Adverse.
Yeah, this one is adverse,
Yes.
right? So we're done there. Then we want the standard price for aluminium and magnesium. Let's go to our table here and check the standard prices. So we have 53 and what? And 45, né? 45 is for aluminium, 53 is for magnesium. These are the standard price, né? I don't know if we are together where I get those figures. It's going to be the standard
Yes.
price for aluminium is 45, and the standard price for magnesium is 53. Then we just compute, which means we are now calculating from here. Our variance, mixed variance, we're now calculating it from there. So the first one is 150 times 45. $6,750. So this one is already favorable. Then we go to this one. This is 150, sorry, I put this one. 150 times times 53, 7,950. Am I correct? This one is
Okay.
adverse. Then the total, remember they say in total. So we need now the total. So your total, you should put the whole table, the total. So this one is going to be 16. And at the total that is important here is this one, and this one, and this one. So let's have for this one. What are we going to have here? Adverse. Our final, is it going to be adverse or favorable?
Adverse.
Because the adverse is the one that is bigger. So it's going to be adverse. So you'll be done with your mixed variance. So when you are doing your mixed variance, what you look at is the standard mix. What is the standard mix in the question? And what is the actual quantity? Here is not a problem because you are going to deal with actual mix in actual quantity, which means they are going to be the same. They are not going to change. So what changes is here, the standard mix in actual quantity. Right? So you will be done with your AC, the direct raw material mix variance. Unless if there's anyone with a question, we can do the next one. I was thinking maybe we can finish A and B, and Saturday we can finish the whole paper. Let's see now. Yeah, we can do, we still have time. D says calculate direct labor idle time variance for the technical labor per product type. Direct labor idle time variance for the technical labor per product type. So that statement which is here, they want us to calculate the direct labor idle time. Idle time is that time when people are not productive. So we want to see the budgeted idle time and the actual idle time. That's the variance that we want here. So they say due to production delays, technical staff had to work overtime to meet the production budget. The budgeted in actual clock hours required to produce one deluxe and Elite laptop were. So which means these are the budgeted hours for a deluxe and for an Elite, and the allowed idle time was 8%. This is the budgeted idle time. Then the standard clock hour rate per hour was 350 per clock hour. The wage records for December 2023 indicate an actual work hour rate of, this is the actual, then the actual idle time for December 2023 was 6%. So the question requires us to do the calculate the direct labor idle time variance for the technical labor per product type. Okay, so which means we're going to do for each product there. So this is going to be our AD, it's going to be AD. So in our AD, we want to do the direct labor idle time variance. So we're going to do for all the products. So when you are doing your direct labor idle time variance, it's going to be your standard idle time hours minus your actual idle time hours then times the standard times the standard productive hours. Standard productive rate, sorry, standard productive rate. So this is your formula. Standard idle time hours minus actual idle time hours times the standard productive rate. Then you get your idle time variance. So let's start with the Dulux. Let's start with the Dulux. So we need the standard idle time hours. Standard idle time hours. Then we need the actual time hours. So what are we going to do? We go to our scenario there. So in our scenario, we are told here that the Dulux is going to need 1.25 clock hours per unit. So it's just a matter of 1.25 times actual quantity times the idle time percentage. That's for the Dulux. Then for the actual, it's still going to be the same, 1.25 times, so we're going to say minus 1.25 times actual quantity times 6%, then times the standard productive. Standard productive, you need to adjust it. If it is 8% idle time, from 100 we have 92%. So which means you now go and say the productive rate is going to be over 92% here. That's the productive rate after you take out the idle time, right? So let's go and see how do we put it in our answer. So it's going to be standard idle time we say 1.25. Yes, someone is raising their hand. Yes. You can ask.
Sorry, man. I need to ask, how did we arrive on 92%? If maybe if you can explain from there.
Remember here they say standard productive rate. Standard productive rate. So for us to get the standard productive rate, we should take into account that 8%, the idle time. So it will be the standard rate is 350. So which means because of the idle time, it's no more going to be 350 because it's going to cost more for the company because of that idle time. So which means we convert it to a standard productive rate, which is going to be 100 minus 8%, which is going to be 0.92 here.
Okay, I'm answered. Thank you.
So that's basically how you look at that one. When you are adjusting your standard rate, when you are calculating your idle time, always look at them percentage of idle time so that you can adjust this standard rate to standard productive rate. Well, these guys will be sitting for 8 hours, which means it's going to be a cost to the company. This is what we are looking at here. It's going to be a cost. It's not going to be 350. It's going to be more because of that idle time. Because at the end of the day, they still need to produce the product, right? So it's going to be 1.25 hours times what are the actual quantity for the Dulux? We get 3,900, ne? Yes. Someone is raising the hand.
Hi, Lovemore.
Yes.
Yes, I just want to clarify just one thing on. So when we're doing idle time, we work with clock hours, not the work hours.
Okay. Clock hours. Like in our case, what are they saying? We're working with who here? Let's just go to the scenario. So we are now working with, like in this case, what you can look at now, these guys are, for each unit, they use 1.25. Am I right? Which means they are going to use 1.25 hours to produce one unit. So we want to see the total hours. So here they say the budgeted and actual clock hours. So which means we are basically looking at the clock hours of which were budgeted in this case. So that's basically what we are looking at here. There are clock hours, and we need to convert them to the material that was produced in this case. Right. So which means
yes, I see that.
Yeah, we look at the clock hours there. So every time when you are doing your, but it depends. What is important is for you guys, the scenario is very important. What does the scenario say? The scenario will tell you. I always say the answer is here in the scenario, but it's only going to be a problem if you don't know how to take it. Those who can climb are the only ones who can take it. But if you can't climb, then yeah, you'll be just watching others climbing and taking. Right. So we must now start to train to climb. Right. So here we say how many hours are we going to need there? %, ne? Am I right? Are you guys there?
Yes, you're right.
Yes.
Times what now? Then we say times the standard rate is 350 over, you can say 92%. But if you know your calculator does not calculate direct percentages, you can convert it to 0.92. But if you have a good calculator which can calculate direct percentages, you can use the percentage. Right. So let's look at what is going to be our variance there. So which means we need these hours here and these hours here. Then we multiply by here. Let us be fast and finish so that we can do a B. At least if we can finish B. At B. So how many hours are we going to have? It's 1.25. 1.25 times 3,900 times what?
I get 390.
390. So it's going to be 390 hours minus this one. How much are we going to get here?
It's 292.5 hours.
0.5 hours. Then
93.
times what?
393 hours.
You can put it in 93. Yeah, it's fine. Let's just put it to 293. Right, so how much are we going to have as our difference? 390 minus 293. 97 times this one. How much are we going to have? 350 over 0.92. $380.43. Let's put it as it is. Because if we round too much, we end up having. So this is what we are going to have. We're going to have. Is it going to be adverse or favorable? That's another key area. This is the actual idle time. This is the budgeted idle time. The budgeted idle time is more than the actual. Is it going to be favorable or unfavorable?
It's favorable.
Yeah, it's favorable. So how much is
It's
it going to be?
favorable.
How much is it going to be all in all? We just multiply by this one. Favorable. Right, so we do the same to the allied. I don't think there's a difference in how we do it there. Let's try to do B. Let's try to do part B so that we can finish part B. Let's see if there's anything the same way you are going to do.
Sorry, ma, love ma.
Yes.
Did you multiply by 97?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is the 90s? Yes. Sorry. This 97, yeah.
I get 36,000.
You get
Not
that?
36.
It's 97 times 380.43. Yeah, you are right. It's 36,901.71, which is favorable. Right. I don't know if there's anyone with a challenge with these variances. Anyone with a challenge with the variances before we go to B? I want us to finish B because so that we can be able to complete this paper on Saturday. So which means you guys, I will ask you to go and do for the elite here the same way we did this one. Then based on your calculation in AD above, briefly discuss one reason for idle time variance. What can cause a favorable? Because in our case there we got a favorable. Let's use the one that we got a favorable idle time variance. What can be the cause of a favorable idle time variance?
If they are highly skilled workers,
Yeah, highly skilled workers. Let me just go there. So this is going to be our A, E. So you highly skilled idle. Does it fit on idle time variance? Because remember, this is the time when people are not productive. They are not working. I will not put it as a number one there. Let's look for the number one for idle time. When do people start to be just loitering around? If people are not happy, they end up loitering around. Ne? So in this case, we have a favorable, which means these people are committed to their work. So you can look at high morale. Everyone is committed to the work. So there is no that idle time, too much idle time. Everyone is always on work. And what else can contribute to this favorable idle time? Well, if you are giving your employee performance bonuses, do you think they will have that time to sit? They will not sit. They will be always working. Then what else can be? Because the one that you gave, highly skilled, it goes to material quantity variance. We use less material. It might be because we have more skilled personnel who does not waste. That's the one for highly skilled personnel. It might be due to them not wasting the material. Because sometimes if your company is full of trainees, the material is always having faults, restarting the work, all those. So it will end up using more material, right? So that's how we determine our favorable idle time variance, right? Unless if there is anyone with a question, I want us to quickly go to B and see what we can do on B. I think if we can be able to do A, that's the important one. This one is not important. Everyone can go and look at the risk there. They are there on the the second paragraph for risk. As long as they talk of sourcing material globally, foreign exchange risk should be there. Political risk should be there. You think if those people who were sourcing wheat from Ukraine, they were affected by this geopolitical. So those are some of the things that you should look at when you are doing your risk. You get it from the scenario. You get it from the scenario, right? So let's do B. It's a continuation from A, so which means we are going to use some of the information from A, if possible. Right? They say the executive committee budgeted to achieve 40 million for the 2020 financial year. That's the profit. The moment I read this statement, I will know break-even analysis. That's what you should quickly come into your mind. Then they say the marketing and production heads presented the following departmental budget for the 2024 financial year. The marketing team budgeted to sell 5,000 Dulux units, 2,800 Elite units. The related selling price was 38,500 and 45,500. So that's the sales demand and selling price. Production requirements and cost per unit. These are the production requirements and cost per unit. So when you are costing each product, it means we have the information here for costing the product. Right? What else do we need? So that's all. So the question says calculate the annual budgeted number of units per product type that PINA will need to manufacture and sell to achieve a target profit of 40 million during the year. Where do we start with this?
We start by putting the formula there.
In another way, what are we calculating here? What are we calculating so that those who have forgotten can what do you want to calculate here?
We want to calculate the number of units as per product type to get the the profit of 40 million. So first of all, we need to calculate the batch since we are dealing with the two types of a product simultaneously.
Okay. So we're going to calculate the budgeted units to attain a profit target of 40 million. Right. So what it means is, it means we want to see after we break even, then we make a profit of 40 million. Is that correct? After we break even, then we should make a profit of 40 million. So what you are going to do is, you need the formula, break even units. And they like this question, but it's very straightforward. So it's going to be what here? Total cost, total fixed cost, plus target profit. We have two products. So which means you are going to do the weighted contribution. Right. So that's your formula for break-even units. Total fixed cost. Like in this, there's a target profit. So you're going to say plus the target profit over the weighted contribution. So once you have the formula, which means there are three things that we need to calculate: total fixed cost, weighted contribution, and what else?
Sales mix.
Yes, sales mix. So let's start with the sales mix. There is no order for calculation. Let's start with what she said now, it's the sales mix. Our sales mix, the question says budgeted. Right, that's another key area. When they talk of budgeted, it means we should look at budgeted figures. So which means our budgeted sales are 5,200 as to 2,800. So our sales mix is going to be 5,200 as to what? 2,800. Am I right? What do we do when we have this now? We just bring them to the lowest term. Remember I said in a previous class, you can still use them like this, but they prefer you to bring them to. So you can remove the zeros first. What else? Who is common here to divide? If we divide by 4, can we divide by 4 here again?
Yes.
So if we divide by 4, here we get how much? 13.
Yes.
So this is 13 is to what? 4.
7.
Huh?
7.
Yes.
13 is to 7, sorry. So this is our mix, which means for every 13 Dulux, we are going to sell 7 allies. That's the mix. Right? Then we have our mix. What else can we calculate on our C2?
Contribution as well. We need to calculate in the contribution.
The contribution per unit. But let's start with the fixed cost.
Oh, the fixed cost.
Yeah. So that we can end with the contribution. Right. So the fixed cost, we go to our question. Who are the fixed costs here? They say budgeted fixed administrative cost, 12 million. So that one we don't calculate. Fixed manufacturing overheads, 1,500 per unit. So we need to calculate the fixed manufacturing, 1,500 per unit of each. So, which means we just come here. For Dulux is 1,500 times 5,200. For Elite is 1,500 times 2,800. Then we add the 2. That is going to be our fixed manufacturing overhead cost plus the fixed administrative cost. So which means we are going to have here we are going to have fixed administrative cost. Is 12 million. Then fixed manufacturing overhead. The fixed manufacturing overheads, we were told that is 1,500. So it's going to be 1,500 times 5,200 plus 1,500 times 2,800. How much are we going to have all in all? Anyone who got anything there? Are you guys there? Are we still together? How much are we going to have on fixed manufacturing overhead? It's going to be 1,500 times, because they say per unit, times 5,200.
It's 7,000,000.
7,800,000.
Then this one,
$4,200,000.
so our total is going to be 12 million. Eh?
Yes.
Yeah.
So lucky that I.
So it's going to be 24 million all in all.
I just made it all right. I didn't
Right.
even know I could make.
So we now have our sales mix and our.
What we get from Earth? Water?
Sorry, can you please mute yourself, please?
Oh, lava. There you go. Earth and Earth gives you.
Who is that? Mute yourself, please. So our C3 is going to be what? Contribution. You use contribution per unit here. We're going to use contribution per unit. So it's going to be Dulux. Right? Our contribution per unit, we are going to use the direct costing, which means we are using the direct costing. We only look at the variables. So which means we are going to say the selling price less variable cost. Here it's not necessary to group them under manufacturing and non-manufacturing variable. You can just put everything here, variable cost, because it's not necessary. You can only do that if you are doing, if you are costing a product, so that you know how do you value closing inventory. Those who can still remember when we were doing the valuation of closing inventory, you don't include non-manufacturing variables into the cost of closing inventory. So that's when you can separate manufacturing variables and non-manufacturing variables. So which means here you can say less cost of sale, variable cost of sale, if you are doing the costing of a product. But in this case, you just want the contribution. So which means you can just come here and say less variable costs, all the variable costs. Right, so let's look at the price first. The price is 38,500 and 45,500 per unit. And here we're dealing with per unit. So if something is given in total, which means you should convert it to per unit. So this one is going to be 45,500, right? Then we go to our variable cost. Our variable cost is going to be, all these are going to go into the product. We have aluminum, magnesium, main circuit board, advanced component set, technical labor, same skilled labor, variable manufacturing overheads, selling and distribution, fixed manufacturing. Are we going to include this fixed manufacturing into when we are calculating our contribution there?
No, we don't.
Yeah, we don't. So which means we'll end here. We'll end here. Right, so let's start with aluminum. They say 45,000 per ton. And the Dulux will need 3 kg. And the Elite will need 3.75 kg. What are we going to do here? It's 45,000 per ton. Aluminium is 45,000 per ton. What are we going, and the Dulux need 3 kg. What are we going to do?
You calculate the cost per ton times 3.
The cost per ton. The cost per ton.
Cost per kg. Cost per kg times 3.
Yeah, so which means we are going to say 45, if we can put it like this, over what?
1,000.
Over 1,000, yes. Times 3, then plus 45 over 1,000 times 3.75. That's for aluminum. How much are we going to get there? For Dulux?
135.
So this one is going to be 135. Then for Elite?
168.75.
168. So let's just round it to 169 so that we can round everything. So we'll be done with the aluminum. You can also put it like this. You can just, it's 3 kg. So you can say 3 over. I think it must give us the same. Is it going to give us the same answer? 3 over 1,000 times 45,000.
Yes.
Yeah, you can put it like that as well. It will give you the same answer. Then we go to magnesium. There's someone raising the hand. Someone who's raising, can you ask the question?
All right, sorry, man. Under alumni, is it aluminum? Ne? Is under variable cost. Was it supposed to be 1,000 rand instead of 100 rand that you have written there?
It's 1,000. Do you see the 1,000 is coming from
Yeah, where is it coming from, that 1,000 rand?
Where is the 1,000 coming from, Smiley?
They
Eh?
said, they said,
Sorry?
they said it's 45 what? 45. What did they say there? They said 45,000 per ton, which means a ton has got 1,000 kgs. So we want to convert to kgs. So one ton is equals to 1,000 kgs.
Yeah, that's what he's saying there. That's correct. You got it?
Yes, thank you.
So let's do the one from magnesium. So it's still going to be the same. It's going to be 53, so it's going to be here we say 45. Then for magnesium, what are we going to say? They say 53. Oh, this one is provided. And they say 53 per kg, which is fine. And they use 1 kg. So it's going to be fine like that. Then for elite, they use 1.25 kg. Do we see what we're going to do? So which means for magnesium, for deluxe, we're just going to multiply by 1 kg, 53 by 1 kg. And for elite, it's going to be 53 times 1.25. I don't know if we are together there.
Yes.
Yes.
So this one is going to be 53 times 1. 53 times 1.25. How much are we going to have for the first one? It's still 53. Then the second one is going to be 53 times 1.25.
66.
66.25. What do we do? Can we just ignore it? Right? So that's magnesium. Let's check the next one. So here it's straightforward. Here it's straightforward. There's nothing here. The main circuit board. How much is the circuit board? The circuit board is 6,500. How many circuit board goes to deluxe? It's 1. Then how many circuit board goes to elite? It's 1. So which means the main circuit board is going to be 6,500 per each. Circuit board. So it's the main circuit board. So it's going to be 6,500 for everyone. Right, then let's look at the next line. The next line is going to be advanced component sets. 21,000 per component set. 21,000 per component set. Then our main component set will go to deluxe, 1 component set. And our main component set goes to elite, 1.5 component sets. So that's how we take it there. So we're going to have advanced component set. Right, it's going to be 21,000 times 1, 21,000 times 1.5. So this one is going to be 21,000. And this one is going to be what?
31,500.
31,500. Right, then we're done there. Then we go to, you see, it's something that you can quickly do in the exam. Then variable manufacturing overheads, 150 per machine hour. How many machine hours? 30 machine minutes, 45 machine minutes. So it's 150 per hour. So which means you are going to apportion this to an hour. So it's going to be 30 over 60. This one is going to be 45 over 60, so that you can get which is equivalent to 30 machine minutes. So that's your variable manufacturing overheads. So your variable manufacturing overheads is going to be, the first one is 30 over 60 times 150. Then the second one is 45 over 60 times 150. How much are we going to have for each?
$75.
The first one is 75. Then the second one is how much? 45.
113.
Sorry.
113.
The second one is 113. 113. Right. So we're done with the variable manufacturing overheads. Then we go to the next one. The next one is going to be selling and distribution cost. 0.5% of the selling price. The answers will be there. It's just a copying and paste. 0.5% of the selling price, which means that's your selling and variable. So your selling price are here. 0.5% of this and 0.5% of this is going to be your selling and distribution cost. There's something that we left. I don't know where I'm going. Technical labor and skilled labor. It's fine. Let's do the selling and distribution cost first there. Okay, I'm just trying to finish this. So it's going to be the selling and distribution cost. So it's going to be 0.5 of the selling price times 38,500 and 0.5% times 45,500. That's your selling and distribution cost. How much are we going to have there?
$19,250. 19,250 for the first one.
It's
No, sorry.
It's 192.5.
Sorry.
The first one is 192.5, which is
193.
The first one is 193. So you just come here and say 38,500. Let me just check. Times 0.5%. 192. You can make it 193. Right. Then the second one is going to be how much? 45,500.
227. 228.
227. 228. You can make it 228. Right.
So
So that's
228 when we round it.
Yeah. Then that's your selling and distribution. There's those that I left here. So we also have we didn't do the technical labor. Technical labor is 350 per clock hour. So there's going to be 75 clock minutes and 90 clock minutes. So what are we going to do? 350 per clock hour, 75 and 90. So it's going to look like this when you So this one is your technical labor. So they say it's 350 per clock hour. So these guys, they are going to clock 75, which is going to be 75 over 60 times 350. That's your first one. Then the second one, they say it's going to give them 90. So it's going to be 90 over 60 times 350. Then you get your figures. How much are we going to get there?
403. 403.
403 for the first one.
Yes.
Then the second one,
825.
525.
sorry,
525.
525. Right? Then you are done there. Who is left here? Remember, we're dealing with variables, all variables. So we have same skilled labor. It's a variable, 200 per clock hour, 45 clock minutes per unit, and 75 clock minutes per unit. So we go and do the same skilled labor. It's going to be 45 over 60 times 200. Then the other one is going to be 200 times, it's the 75 one, 75.
Sorry, love more. How did Smile get 403? I get a different amount.
I didn't calculate that one. I just took from
75 over
also
60.
getting
which one for this one?
The first one, the 403. I
Just
get
say
438.
438.
yeah, it's 438.
It's
Me too.
times 350. Yeah, it's 438. So the second one, is it correct?
Yes, it's correct, the second one.
Right, so let's do the last one, the same skilled labor.
$150.
150 for the first one, for the first line. Then here,
230.
230.
250. I'm getting 250.
Which one is correct? Which one is correct? Let's see.
250.
Is the correct one.
250 is the correct. I know it's fine. You see, when we are doing questions, whatever answer we get is not much very important. What is important is, are we understanding the principle? What is supposed to be done? That's why you see whatever figure you give me, I take it. Because me, I focus on here. This is the main important thing. Once you understand here, it means those small errors that you are going to make, they won't make you fail. Never. As long as you know here what you are supposed to do here, you won't fail. Right. So now let's look at what is going to be the total variable cost. I'll ask you guys to one to do, the others to do the first line, the others to do the second line, so that we do it quickly, so that we can calculate the contribution. Here we want the total variable cost, which is
The first one is 67,044.
67.
Yes.
Why is this so big?
Oh no, I've added everything, Askis.
The first line I mean here, going down, must not be, we will not have contribution if it is big. It means something is not right in our calculation.
The first one is 28,469.
28,000.
469.
469.
Yes.
So these are our variable costs. Then the second one, let me just show you.
$39,123.
Now I got 9956, the first one. Oh, okay.
You got how much?
9956.
You got 9,000.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
the contribution, yeah. The variable cost is 28.
Oh, you mean the contribution?
Yes.
Okay, let us have the total for this one first. How much is for Elite? The variable cost for Elite?
It's 39,123.
That what?
39,123.
Right, so which means we need our contribution now. How much is going to be our contribution? The first one is 38,500 minus 28,469.
9956.
9956. Then the second one, it's 45,500 minus 39,123. $6,377.
Yes.
6,377. Right. We now have our contribution per unit. What do we do with this contribution now?
We take it in times with the sales mix divided by the total.
Yeah, so which means we can now be able to go back to our answer. Here it was just calculation. So we can go back and do our answering. Our total fixed cost, we say it's 24 million plus the target profit, which is 40 million. So we just come here and say it's equal to total fixed cost, we say is 24 million plus target profit, which is 40 million over our weighted contribution. Your weighted contribution, you multiply each product by its contribution. No, by itself, by its mix. Its contribution by its mix, which means the first one is going to be 9,956 times 13 plus the second one we say 6,377 times 7. So let's do these ones first so that we can add and divide.
Divide by 20.
Uh,
We don't divide by the 13 plus 7. There.
Yeah, you can divide by 13 plus 7, but I'll show you the difference. Let's not divide.
Okay.
I'll show you the difference. We're still going to get the same answer. Let's not divide for now. Let's just check them as they are.
Sorry, sir.
Yes.
When we are calculating for deluxe contribution per unit, I don't get this 9,956. I get 10031 for deluxe contribution, the total.
The contribution.
I
Yes.
also get the same one.
So you guys,
I
why
don't
are
get
you
this.
giving us the
I
wrong?
don't get this 99.
You don't get the
I'm also getting the
9956.
same one. That's it.
Who got the
The
996?
9956.
Who got it?
I got it.
But the figure is not very important. What is important is the principle. Don't mind about the figure. The principle behind is what is very important here. So you say, how much is it?
10031.
100
10031.
0031. 10,031.
Yes.
Why so big?
It's wrong. The
It's wrong.
99 is correct. The 9,000 is correct.
Are you guys?
well.
Is this correct? The variable
The,
cost. The variable cost.
9956 is correct.
The variable cost is correct. The total variable cost, is it
The
correct?
total variable cost, what I've got
It's
is
28,544.
26,544.
What?
It's
28,544.
Yes.
544, yes.
Not-
28,544.
So that's where the error is.
Mm.
Right. So which means.
Well, now when I calculated
544.
I took the total and minus all of this.
So
That's
what
why I
are we
didn't-
going to have as a contribution here? So you say the 10,031 is correct.
It's too much.
No,
Can't be correct that one.
love more. 9,956 is correct.
You guys.
9956 is correct. And also, check,
9956.
and
Okay, it's
also
fine.
check Eli.
Let's use
The variable cost.
let's use 9956. But what I just
Elite variable cost.
9956. Let's use that one. If there's an error, I'll double check if there's an error somewhere. But let's use 9956 for now so that we can finish this part. So what are we going to do? What are we going to have as a total here? Let's finish so that we can close the class. 13 times 9956 is going to be what? 129.
428.
129, 428 plus this one,
639. 639.
639.
So our total is going to be what if we add them?
It's 174067.
174067. So which means
Yes.
we're going to divide by 174067 here. So which means here it's going to be 64 million. So it's going to be 64 million.
I'm lost. What are we dividing now?
We want to get the break-even units now. Again, we say total fixed cost plus target profit over weighted contribution.
Yes.
So this is the
Yes.
weighted contribution, this one.
Where is your weighted or the 174?
Yeah, 174067 is the weighted contribution. Then the total fixed cost is this one, 64 million. Are we together now?
Okay, yes.
I'm getting 367.67.
Which is equal 367. Can we put the point or we can round? Let me just round it here so that we don't.
Okay. 368.
Yeah, 368. Right. So there's someone who was talking of dividing. Right. If you did not divide here now, I prefer this method because it's going to be easy. If you did not divide here, so what you are going to do now is you are now going to say for Dulux is going to be 368 times the sales mix of Dulux, which is times 13. Then Elite, you are now going to say 368 times the mix for Elite. Those are the units that will be produced. But if you have divided, when you are here, it means now you share based on their proportion, like 7 over 20 times 368. Then 13 over 20 times 368. That is if you use the 13 over 20 here and the 7 over 20 here. But I don't prefer that one because it confuses, it needs a lot of calculation. This one is straight, which means once you have these batches, then you just multiply by the mix here. Then you get the number of units that must be produced. Then if we get the one for Dulux and the one for Elite, then we add, then we're going to get the total. Then you'll be done with your B. Right?
I'm lost.
Sorry?
I'm lost. Where do you get the 368 benches?
You guys don't just get lost in an
So contribution might divide by the weighted.
We have this figure is our weighted contribution,
Yes.
am I right?
Yes.
Yes.
This is our fixed cost. So we divide 174 into the fixed cost.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
So our fixed cost is 64 million, am I right? Wait, fixed cost plus target profit is 64 million. So we divide 64 million over 174,067. It must give us this figure, 368. Are we together?
Yes, I got it.
You got it. That's so, which means what you are working on is your formula. The first thing when you are answering this question is the formula. Break-even units is equal total fixed cost. If there is a target profit, then you add that target profit over the weighted contribution. Your weighted contribution is contribution per product times the mix. Contribution per product times the mix. Then you add, then you have your weighted contribution. Then you divide, then you get your batches. Then you multiply by the mix here to get the one for Dulux and to get the one for Elite, right? So that's how we do. So what is important is the principle. I will ask you guys to go and look at, when you are redoing this question, try to go and look at this topic, especially our notes, the notes for the class, for variance analysis and break-even analysis. Just visit the notes for the class and the examples that we did in class. It will also help you to understand most of the things that we have done here. And again, I will also ask you to look at CDE. We should be able to do CDE on Saturday. So Saturday class, we are going to have Mac and FAC. I don't think text will have it this week. We're gonna focus on Mac on Saturday and FAC on Saturday again.
Okay.
Right, so we'll meet on Saturday for FAC and Mac.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for attending the class. We'll meet on Saturday for the next class.
Okay, see.
So what time on Saturday?
Yeah, I wanted to ask that. Sorry.
What time on Saturday? 10 to
10 to 12.
10 to 12 we should finish with Meg. Because I know after Meg, yeah, you won't attend the class. Because the head will... So let's start with FAC 10 to 12, then Meg from 10 until we finish. Meg is gonna be from 12 until we finish C, G, and E. So there is no time there. It's just until we finish. But I think we'll be able to finish.
That's good.
We'll be able to finish around 3. Okay. So that's it. But I'll also send on the group so that we also take note of the time.